Hello, lovely students. I wanted to go over the syllabus with you, hopefully answer any questions that you might have. So welcome to Global Environmental Studies, ECO 3450. This is an online course. I'm Dawn Murray, your instructor, and this course is designed to give you an understanding and appreciation of the natural world, including framing social, political, and economic issues that affect the environment. In this course, you will learn and develop a broad sense of knowledge in basic ecology, geology, and biology. We're going to examine environmental issues and the science of ecology from a local scale to the global scale. Included is the natural history of Santa Barbara area, some discussion of habitats, and the global processes involved in controlling such phenomena such as climate change and ocean acidification. So our undergraduate studies learning outcomes are listed here, and this is for every class. You'll see them listed, which are what we want every class to teach you, and that's critical inquiry, looking at diverse perspectives, having a reflective practice, focusing on justice, how to communicate effectively, and local and global contexts. So the required reading is here. Any edition of the book will do. For the learning objectives, you're going to analyze connections between environmental issues and political, social, and economic constraints by evaluating evidence. The second learning objective for the course is to analyze ecological concepts and environmental issues and integrate those concepts into class discussions, demonstrating critical analysis. The third objective is to participate in the political communication process by formulating advocacy letters, demonstrating effective communication and environmental justice. And the fourth is to understand the most important environmental challenges today and how we can work towards solving these problems, articulating your role. Your assessment will be based on 6 different aspects of your work. I want you to read the entire chapter and the learning outcomes so you know what should be understood and what we're going to discuss. I want you to post your answers online for practice quizzes. Each Sunday night, those are due. You're going to participate in a weekly discussion forum with your classmates. This is the bulk of your work, is these discussion forums and communicating back and forth. You will write advocacy letters regarding an environmental issue, and you'll write 3 papers, one on biodiversity, a field observation, and one on microloans. And you will visit a field site, and there are many locations for you to visit. Here are some examples: Rattlesnake Canyon Trail, Lake Los Carneros, the Bird Estuary, Henry's Beach, Carp Salt Marsh, Coal Oil Point, Goleta Butterfly Trail, the Harbor Seal Rookery and Carp, and there's many, many more. I want all communication in this class to be done in a respectful way, and I want you to do the assignments and the readings completely and actively contribute to the online discussions professionally and respectfully. So now we get into the weekly schedule. So the first week is the week of October 5th. The topic is to introduce you to our environmental systems. The Sakai site is built for you to follow instructions there as well. So that means you can always refer back to the syllabus, but if you follow the lessons, you should be able to figure out what it is you need to do that week. So the first week, there's 2 forums. There's an introductory forum and an indigenous forum. So you need to post in both of those. You make your first post by Wednesday at midnight. You're going to comment on minimum 4 other people's posts in the intro post by Sunday at midnight. And what you'll notice is it feels more like a conversation if you plan some time for this class every week. So maybe Mondays you do your readings. Tuesday you do your first forum post. And then Wednesdays you can take a break. And then Thursdays you go back in and you write comments to other people's posts. And Fridays maybe you go back in and read and make more comments. And then Friday and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday, you can work on whatever paper might be due that week. So there's some rhythm for your course. The second, you have answer quizzes for quiz questions that are due Sunday by midnight. And then in this Indigenous forum, again, same thing, your first post is due Wednesday, and then at least 100-word response to 3 people minimum by Sunday at midnight. And that's pretty much how the class goes, except for when we add maybe a paper. So week 2, you can see we discuss evolution in human populations. You read 2 chapters, you do some quiz questions by Sunday at midnight, and then you do a population forum. Your first post is due Wednesday at midnight, and then your second responses in 100-word posts each to a minimum of 3 people need to be submitted by Sunday at midnight. Then in the week 3, we talk about biomes and biodiversity. You read 1 chapter, so I have a paper due that week. You still do your practice quiz questions due Sunday at midnight. You do a biome forum post where your first response is due Wednesday. Your responses to your fellow students are due by Sunday at midnight. And then you have a written paper that's due by Sunday at midnight on biodiversity. The week of October 26th, we talk about environmental conservation. The week of November 2nd, food and environmental health. We add a paper that week as well. It's a field observation, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Week 6, we talk about air. In this forum, because this topic is so important, there is a longer initial post of 300-word minimum due on Wednesday night. And there's a lot of various questions in that forum that I've posted. And then week 7, we discuss water. And you have practice quiz questions, and then a water issues forum. Again, a longer initial post. Air, water, very important. I have a couple of questions I really want you to address in those posts, so a little bit longer initial posts. Week 8, energy and waste, quiz questions and an energy forum with a Wednesday, Sunday flow. Week 9, waste and effects of more people, 2 chapters to read, a practice quiz, a forum on waste and urbanization, and then a paper on microloans. And week 10 is policy. 1 chapter, practice quiz, and this is your field site forum. It's there. It's not in any specific week because you can do this project at any time during the quarter. So what I want you to do is go out and in this forum describe an ecosystem, the habitat, animals, plants, ecological issues, the hydrologic cycle, which is the water cycle there, anything that you can figure out. Talk about what resources you're looking at, nutrients, weather patterns, what struck you about this location, and why is this area important? And then over the course of the quarter, as students start visiting their various field sites, you will comment and respond to 2 other students. But again, you have the whole quarter to visit a field site and to make this post, and the whole quarter to comment. But you can see if everyone waits until week 10 to visit their site and post, it'll make a lot of work for you all just to catch up and post 2 comments on everybody's post. So when you start doing it, you know, you can send a message to everyone in the comments on our front page saying, hey, I just visited the salt marsh and I posted in my forum if anyone wants to take a look. And if you are going to go somewhere, you could also post in the comment that you're going, and if you can socially distance yourselves, then you can go together. Lastly, week 10, the end of week 10, I want you to do a sustainability and reflection video. So this would be a 2 to 3 minute video reflecting on your learning in this course. Maybe there's a behavioral change that you will change after this course. And I want to know what you're taking away from the class. And everyone will watch everyone else's video and respond to 3 people minimum by Sunday at midnight. So here's some additional resources, some information, and there are a total of 460 points in the class. So there's forum points, 220, practice quizzes are 150 total, and then your papers are 30 each. And you've probably seen curriculum maps before, but the core purposes addressed in this class are down in this column, and across the top row are our different learning outcomes. So you can see where I'm looking for you to shine in each of the core purposes. Your advocacy letter is the first step to solving an environmental problem. It's often education, how to enact change, and the process doesn't end here. So what you would want to do is you could look at the Sierra Club, you could look at Greenpeace, you can look at websites like that, and there's generally a take action section, and you can find things that you can start signing your name to, and that counts as well. It doesn't have to be something that you write from scratch to a senator, let's say. It could be something through a website. And maybe you share that on social media and you start seeing people's reactions to your advocacy, seeing if you can get more people on board with you and your advocacy. So that is the advocacy letters. I am really excited to work with you and get to know you. And if you have any questions, email me, and thanks for your time.